Welcome to sportsbookreview.com. This is March into Madness. I'm Flash and I'm joined by Donnie and Max, and it's the start of another week. Craziness to come, craziness over the weekend. And Donnie, I'm going to kick straight off. What about SDS? Come on then, what happened to them?
Yeah, San Diego State, that was a great game if you're watching there. Sam Merrill's three-pointer at the gun to basically beat them. And also you saw back, maybe 2 seconds left, a three ball from half court go in and out. What a game it was. And I liked it. I'm actually glad this happened because I'm the proponent. And a lot of people like to see just like the big dogs get into the tournament and see them run. But it was nice because Utah State was probably going to get left out if they didn't beat San Diego State. They're in the tournament. One of the teams you could certainly root for, get behind, find that underlying value. We already know San Diego State's headed to the tournament. Both teams played really well. That's what conference tournament week is all about, coming down to the final shot. What a great conference tournament, especially there in Las Vegas. Looking forward to more from Utah State in the tournament here, Flash.
Yeah, Max, there were some great games over the weekend, and it was good to see some of the dogs actually picking up the silverware.
Yeah, absolutely. The one dog that I was happy that didn't pick up the silverware, and Donnie can attest to too, was the Bradley Braves. God damn, Brian Wardle, you got that team humming. You got that team playing defense, playing together. And you know what? They persevered in that second half versus Valpo, took over in crunch time like a seasoned veteran club does. And watch out for whoever plays them in the first round, because you do not want a piece of Nate Kendall, Elijah Childs, and, of course, Darryl Brown.
Yeah, there's plenty of
team right there.
Max, there's plenty of sides that are absolutely buzzing, and none of them are household names. I mean, what about Winthrop? They just keep winning, they put up points, and they defense.
Listen, Winthrop's a fantastically put together team. Coach Kelsey's done a great job of getting guys from JUCOs, getting guys from other Division I schools, and recruiting his own. I think that when you look at the combination and you look at the force of what their front court power is, with Josh Ferguson starting, DJ Burns being your X factor off the bench, he proved dividends yesterday versus Hampton. And America's team, they played well, but they just weren't able to lock down the 40 minutes because Winthrop is so balanced. Winthrop is so deep. And if you're going to get Chandler Vaudrin being able to make free throws with his wanky freaking free throw looking shot, this is a Winthrop team that has shown why they've been to the tournament over 10 times in their program history.
Yeah, listen, we've only got a week to go before it starts getting completely bonkers. But Donnie, Liberty were a big favourite in the Atlantic Sun, and they win by 16 points from Liscombe. That's the first one that people are going to pick up. Nice big juicy worm to bet this week.
Yeah, it's interesting because Liberty's going to be a really good team heading into obviously winning their conference tournament, but in the March Madness, because they're going to slow it down, they're going to play good defense, and they've got the guys that have been there and done that before. And in these smaller tournaments, as you see, as Max alluded to, America's team, I did coin that phrase for Hampton, just continue to take them on the team total line. They came up a little bit short yesterday, but again, you're talking about going on the road, playing teams that are better than you in their home building in championship atmospheres. Tough for Lipscomb to overcome. That was a nice run for Lipscomb just to get to the actual conference tournament final, but a little bit too much. I mean, you saw what Liberty did on the season, even though Lipscomb did give them problems during the season, but at home in a game to win it all and go to March Madness when you're on your home court, it's such a big advantage. They played extremely well, and Liberty jumped out to a nice lead. It was one of the games I struggled with yesterday because I really was like, do I want to get in bed with Liberty with the team total 68 and a half? I was waiting for it to get a little bit low before I pulled the trigger. Didn't end up doing it, and I was sort of kicking myself afterwards. But once they got the lead, it's one of those teams where the same thing we talk about Virginia, who has a similar playing style. It's hard to come back on them. They took the lead at home. They carried it through. They'll be tough. I'm going to be interested to see how they get lined in the NCAA tournament, because if you're looking at a first-round game where Liberty's getting, 6, 7, or 8 points, they're going to be live in that game.
Yeah, and listen, don't be worrying about it, because you hit more than you miss on them team totals. Right, a couple of things before we go into the games. If the teams are either playing, are they playing at home or are they playing in neutral? So if you can point that out, because obviously some people, this might be their first time. If it is your first time, then subscribe, press the button, and we'll notify you whenever we come on air. Obviously, we've kept it at 9:30 Eastern time, which helps, unless you're from Costa Rica, and then you have to get up an hour earlier. I had to wake up the chickens this morning. I was up that early. And Max, we can't go through a show without talking about LSU, and they stick up 90 again. If they can just make sure that their defense is on song and they pay attention, they are mighty dangerous going up the other end.
Yeah, plain and simply, Flash, with LSU, I am just waiting till I see how they finish and how they're seated on Selection Sunday, and then we're going to start talking about LSU. There's no point in talking about a zigzag team that gives you a fantastic performance and then lays a dirty egg that you're never going to eat. I just have to see them where it counts the most and where your futures ticket actually is at stake.
Yeah, there's plenty. And I still, apart from Kansas, Donnie, I think this is massively up for grabs. There's probably 20, 22 teams who could possibly pick up the title.
Yes, and again, Flash, you're going to see it a lot, and maybe the SBR moniker can be changed as well. You're going to see the hashtag take the points and pray in in March Madness. These teams are good. Every single one of them that gets here is a legitimate team. Not to say to win it all, but to hang around in these games, and especially when you're in survive and advance mode. Do you really care, Flash, about covering 8, 9, 10 points? Get the win, keep it moving on. Take the points and pray in March. You'll make some money.
Yeah, and I think that was just the massive thing about Illinois yesterday. They were up 10, 11 points, and they end up winning by 2 because it's all about the W. And obviously the desperation of the side trying to play catch up. Let's kick straight on. Let's dig out some worms. Every single one of these games is a road dog, unless, Donnie, you tell me that they're playing at a neutral ground. Delaware getting 4, going into Hofstra. Donnie, take us away.
Yep, neutral site on this. Both of these teams have played. It is played in Washington, D.C. for the conference tournament, the Entertainment and Sports Arena. This is a really good game, and these are 2 of the teams that you focus on in the CAA. 2 teams that can get up-tempo, 2 teams that can knock down the 3 and also play within themselves. So when you take a look at this basketball game, when you come into it, both of these teams, as I said, already played. So nobody's going to get a surprise where one team's already warmed up. They played yesterday. Another team was off for a week. Both of them should come in guns blazing. But the one thing that makes it a little bit tougher here when you take a look at it, because I'm a team total guy. I like to be an over player. Yesterday, I did play the game with Bradley over 134, which ended up hitting. But that didn't hit, thank God, until like the last 2.5 minutes when you had to start fouling early because one team was up 6, 7, or 8 points late. That's the factor in the bump that you get late in these conference tournaments. So also keep in mind, sometimes you get a cleaner first half in these games, which I still think is going to be the case in this one, where the 3 balls are going down, the offenses are run, because once you start seeing teams in the second half, when it really means the rubber meets the road and you got to win these games, you'll see stretches of 5 to 6 minutes where they're not scoring that much because they're locking in on defense, they're walking the ball up court, they're running their select plays, which take, from a 30-second shot clock, run it all the way down under 10 seconds before you finally get an open look. Those things play. But in this game, I love this because if you take a look from a total perspective, Delaware can really shoot the 3. Hofstra can really shoot the 3. They're going to get some tempo in this game. It's just a matter of these shots go down. And the one thing I do like when I'm taking a look at a team total or just a game total over, I want to make sure both of these teams have already played and got their sight lines down in conference tournament play, which both they have. I'm leaning on an over in this one. I'm going to wait to see how the line actually progresses throughout the day, but I'm looking more as a total in this game. I think these styles make good fights in this one. I think if the 3 balls go down, we're going to get some points here.
Yeah, and maybe a little word of warning or a little bit of advice for everyone is if there's a slow start, the tempo will pick up because, Max, it's risky to go into these games with any type of slow tempo.
Yeah, especially when you're Delaware and you're so reliant on your guard trio led by Canadian from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Nate Darling. I think that with Nate Darling, you get a guy that is just cold-blooded from 3. Doesn't matter if he's on or off. He's always going to hoist it and shoot it up. He is the definition of a shooter that continues to shoot. I think that's going to be a benefit in this game. He's putting up some great numbers. I think that Dylan Painter, with his size, is going to have a matchup advantage against Isaac Conte today. I think that this Delaware team definitely has value in the first half. But as far as the total, it opened up at 149. We're seeing 147.5 and 147 across the board right now. I think that when you look at the season series, these have, at least the first halves have been contested. I think that this is a spot where I have to look the other way. I have to look at the under in this game, even though it's a third matchup and on a neutral court that they've played multiple games at.
Okay, so you're leaning, or is that an official?
I'm just leaning. These aren't plays yet. I haven't made and put any of my own money down yet. So
okay, and I would.
these lines came out like under 2 hours ago, so it's just
okay,
not,
we'll let it settle down. The other thing I'd say to people is that make sure you follow Max and Donnie in play, because the markets move so much, and the way that these teams, the desperation, it's the all or nothing, that you probably could bet both sides at plus money, and then you're guaranteed to make money. But any sort of slow start, jump on the over. If it's at 147 and you get like 137, 138, then go over. Max, Coastal Carolina, another road woofer, getting 4.5 going into App State. And for me, I've already starred App State.
Yeah, no, I'm looking the other way on this Flash. With Coastal Carolina, we know that they can score the three. We know that they can put up points. But we didn't know until just recently that they can also play defense and limit their opponents to a respectable amount of points allowed. I think that with this Coastal Carolina team, you do have good outside shooting. You do have good guards that can penetrate the bucket. And the question with App State is, and continuously is, especially after last game and what the rotation was, is what's going on with Justin Forrest playing that little minutes. Is he hurt? Is there some sort of disciplinary shit going on? I don't know. Until I do know, I'm not making a play on this game. This is a spot where I look to the over, but I have to look at Coastal Carolina with the points. But until I find out what is going on with Justin Forrest, who is definitely the heartbeat for this App State offense to get over 65 points in a game, I have to figure that out first.
Okay, and in the chat, Rod Z, who knows the time of day, says that Hofstra, -4. They're 10-1 in the last 11. Donnie, where do you fancy Coastal Carolina and App State? I'm going App State.
Yeah, no, it's a tough game. I tend to lean on the points in this situation because I'd love the fact that Coastal Carolina went on the road. This is a team that plays at a breakneck pace but usually doesn't give a damn about defense. And Max is right. Going on the road beating UT Arlington was a nice one. Now you're going to come in and play App State, who's not all that offensive efficient. So when you take a look at Coastal Carolina, if their three balls are going down, or if they're able to push on offense, that's going to be a boon in their boon for their offense to go into and win this game. You play at a little bit of elevation. I don't think that's going to be a big deal, but also one of the teams that's maybe a little bit fresher, because a couple of these games are going to come up where one team hasn't played maybe since last Tuesday or last Monday, that full week off to get rested and ready, when the other team has been playing in normal flow as if you were playing in conference play during the season itself within January and February. I lean on the points in this game. Don't have a play because, Coastal Carolina doesn't shoot the three ball that well. Coastal Carolina doesn't do a lot of things on offense well, and they do turn the basketball over, which is usually a recipe for disaster, especially when you go on the road. But I don't know if App State's the type of team that can really take advantage of it, because if you have another team in conference play that can match them tempo-wise and be a little bit more efficient, you can blow the doors off them. But if you're looking for a team that's going to run like Coastal Carolina against a team that App State's going to slow it down and doesn't play that great of offense, where maybe they can't exploit Coastal Carolina, slight lean on the points here, but nothing yet from me in this game, Flash.
So App State are at home, or is it a neutral ground, Donnie?
App State is at home early. These tournaments, some of these tournaments flash early in the rounds. They're going to be played at home. This one is played at home by App State.
That's great. If you can just keep reiterating that so that some people don't think that they're on neutral. And then obviously the team are at home, and that's why the away side are getting so many points. Talking of getting so many points, so we've got Louisiana. 8.5 they're getting going into Georgia Southern, Donnie.
Yep, another conference tournament play. Same thing we just talked about there. These are home and away games, so obviously Georgia Southern will have a distinct advantage. Louisiana, both of these teams do like to push, but the one difference between both of these teams, one plays really good defense, especially in conference. That's Georgia Southern. And when you take a look at Louisiana, not that good on defense. If we look overall, there's 12 teams in conference Flash. Georgia Southern ranks number 1 in defensive efficiency, and obviously Louisiana is 11th out of 12 teams in efficiency. It should be one of those games where Georgia Southern should be able to name what they want to do on offense. How motivated are they? Is it a survive and advance? Even though the number is a decent number, I looked at Georgia and Southern at home. I think they have a decided advantage in this one. I think they get out and get up double digits at the half and carry that for the remainder of the game here. Give me Georgia Southern on this one.
Okay, Georgia Southern, full game, maybe even at the half. Are you on that side? Are you taking the points, Max?
Yeah, I got to look at Lafayette at least Well, no, excuse me. I got to look at Georgia Southern at least in the first half, and I got to look at Lafayette full game. What have we seen from Cedric Russell is that he's been able to make some pretty nice scoring outputs in the last half of second halves in games recently. I think that also taking into consideration that Georgia Southern's coming off that really bad Arkansas State loss, and Lafayette beat Arkansas State to get to this game. That poses a interesting storyline for me. But the reality is Donnie hit it on the knob. One team can really lock you down with defense and one team can't. With Ike Smith and Quan Jackson, Isaiah Crawley, you have guys that have been there and done it before. They've won with this program. This is not something that is new like it's going to be for Jalen Johnson, the transfer into Lafayette. I think that when you look at Jalen Johnson, he's going to have some matchup advantages from a quickness and athletic standpoint versus Isaiah Crawley and some of the other Georgia Southern frontcourt players. But I think that it's really going to come down to being able to get to the free throw line for Lafayette. And if Georgia Southern's able to do that and limit opponents like they have been to under 30% from the three-point line, well, that's going to nullify two significant offensive advantages that Lafayette has, and that's the three-point shooting, which they make 9.6 a game, and then making close to 17 free throws a game. So this is a spot where I got to look at Georgia Southern in the first half, and then I got to make an evaluation, and then I got to look at Lafayette full game, because on the other end, I don't trust Georgia Southern to make free throws consistently when we're fouling and Lafayette's trying to preserve their season.
Okay, and what about UIC getting 6, going into Wright State, Max, and again, is it neutral? Is it home, or all of these home?
I'm pretty sure that this is at home.
Neutral.
Okay. I didn't really play that into it. I played more of the fact that UIC definitely has opened up their offense as of late, being able to get consistent offensive contributions from their trio of guards in Tarkus Ferguson, Marcus Audie, and Godwin Bowen. I think that when you look at Michael Diggins and Jordan Blunt, they're going to have the biggest matchup, and they're going to have the biggest and tallest task tonight when it comes to a defensive standpoint. They're not only going to be able to have to get touches on offense, contribute offensively, because they're going to have Ludin Love and guys like Billy Wampler playing both sides of the floor. I think that when you look at Jordan Blunt, this is a guy that's giving you 6 and 5. He can give you more. He just needs the touches. I think with Michael Diggins, he's going to have his hands full with Ludin Love. If he can't handle him early, Wright State's going to win this game. By the numbers, I would be looking at Illinois-Chicago as a plus 3.5 underdog on the first half, and then I'd be looking at Wright State at minus 5.5 or minus 6 full game. This is a Wright State team that we've seen constantly come out in second halves and be a little more efficient. So, okay,
and that's the classic of Wright State maybe being down 4 or 5 at the half, and they move that line near enough to like minus 110, minus 115, even plus 100, and then that's when you go full game on Wright State. Donnie, Wright State, neutral ground, giving up 6.
Yeah, these are the games that I struggle with early in these conference tournament plays, because when you take a look, there's a couple factors that are coming into play, which decided on what team that you like and what type of circumstance you like. You can certainly bet against it, because when you're taking a look at UIC coming into this game, they've already played 2 tournament games last year. Got an easy win, IUPUI at home, 93-59, then took down Youngstown State once again on their home court, because the double bye that Wright State gets, they haven't played yet. So you say, all right, so I got UIC who's in the moment here, played Tuesday, played Thursday, and they're going to play Monday. So in the rhythm of their regular season type stuff and picking up victories, now going to a neutral court. And you take a look at Wright State, they haven't played for over a week, and they haven't played in conference tournament play. So, I mean, when those factors like in pro football or the pros, they're used to having time off, and that's a real advantageous spot to say, you know what, they're rested and ready. The other team has played. But for college kids, a lot of the times, Flash, I like them to be in rhythm. Get a game, get a day off, get a game, get a couple days off, then hit the court again. But the problem I'm going to have here is, again, being a total better and always looking to try to exploit team total overs or game total overs, you're going to get in that environment where one team hasn't played, Now you ratchet it up knowing that you're going to have to win this tournament probably to get into the actual March Madness tournament itself, which starts next week. What are you going to get? Do you get that slower first half? So in this game, if I'm a player, I actually want to watch a little bit of the first half to see what the tempo is, because you should have a good tempo based on what these teams have produced throughout the season. But the problem I'm having here is UIC going to stay hot even though they won their 2 games at home? Now it's going to be neutral and playing much better competition. And also from RightSide's perspective, where we know they get up and down the court, are they going to be sloppy over the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game? Are they going to have 6 points on the board with 10 minutes left because they're in a neutral court and the pressure's up and all that stuff factors in? Maybe a second half look here where you see some of these teams can get their legs under them the same way you would have looked yesterday maybe at Winthrop, where you said, you know what, Hampton got out to that big start 22-7, they're the hot team, and then you just saw the power of Winthrop come back, and when it was a 5-point game at the half, you said, you know what, Winthrop's probably going to win this game. So I think they were lined 8.5 or 9 in the second half, were able to win that. This is one I might want to sit out and watch till halftime and get a better feel about what these two teams are doing here in this game.
Okay, talking of better feel as well, I didn't have a better feel last week for Eastern Michigan, and this week again, +8 going into Kent State. Both these teams have been scoring points. So are we looking at the over, Donnie?
This is a tough one here. Maybe a team total over on Kent State, which just sounds blasphemous for me because of what I've been preaching from Eastern Michigan. But it sort of seems like that feel-good Eastern Michigan that me and Max have been talking about. Maybe the bottom's fallen out a little bit. Losers of 4 of 5 games. And I do have a couple things picked out. The one interesting thing is these teams played only one time during the regular season. How about a blowout victory by Eastern Michigan, 70-49 versus Kent State? But then when we take a look at Eastern Michigan, they do a lot of their damage at home. On the road, Flash, only 1 victory on the road in conference play. That was by 3 points over a Central Michigan team that really had been lost up until their last game. This is one where I think, hey, it's conference tournament. I know it's going to be a little bit tougher. They did see them already, and they did blast them. But from what I'm looking as a season as a whole, if this game maybe was on a neutral court, I would feel a lot better. Because, again, keep in mind, the MAC tournament, your first couple games are going to be at home before you shift, I believe, over to Cleveland, where they usually play the championship rounds and the semifinal rounds. It's a high number, and I usually back Eastern Michigan, but I'm not going to back them here. I'm going to take the home team in this one, Flash.
Yeah, Kent State, they look like they've got the measure of Eastern Michigan, Max.
Yeah, with this Kent State team, obviously getting Anthony Roberts back helps your backcourt scoring, but I want to know what the status of C.J. Williamson is before I lay this full game. Plain and simply, I think that Kent State shooting the basketball well. Eastern Michigan's defense has had holes and it's had leaks in the boat. I think that when you look at Noah Morgan coming in and out of the starting lineup, I think that he gives you some good versatility and some good shot-making ability. I expect him to have a big game tonight. I think that when you look at Ty Gross and Boubacar Toure, these are guys that have good size. These guys have good defense, good athleticism. Ty Gross is going to pick your pocket. Great wingspan on him. And I think that when it comes to Eastern Michigan, they got to just do a good job of trying to limit Kent State from the three-point line. Obviously, it's easier said than done at home with the revenge factor from such a big win. When I look at this Kent State team, yeah, the first half is where I see them having the advantage. This is a team that's been able to consistently get to 35 to 38 points in first halves, where Eastern Michigan, not only on the road and most recently, have struggled to get to 30. This is a spot where I have a little more trouble laying the full game number, but I do look at Kent State as a lead in the first half as of right now.
Yeah, Max, in your experience, are you looking at all of these sides, the W is more important than the spread, so Kent State? I mean, some of these are 8, 9.5, 10s. If you're up 8, 9, 10 with 2 minutes to go, then the fouling's going to be off the charts, and you're just going to give the opposition a chance to close the gap and just kill the clock.
Well, and it also helps overs and kills unders. I think that's something that you hit on the knob there. It is important to realize that some of these teams will not be participating in postseason tournaments. So this is their last hurrah. So you know that they're going to foul late. Happened a couple times yesterday also. So, yeah, it's something definitely to consider and keep in mind.
Well, we're 4 or 5 games in, and we haven't really heard much about the unders because, as you say, it's all about do or die and just keep fouling and keep getting them points. Donnie, Eastern Michigan, Kent State, you had a lean. Kent State for you?
Yeah, I like Kent State in this game. I just think they're the overall better club. And again, if this was already like one of those conference tournaments, Flash, where we were into neutral courts where maybe you're not used to the sight lines, Eastern Michigan can really give you problems in those environments. Kent State's going to be at home. They know the shooting lines. They've seen this team, but they didn't play all that well versus them before, but they've now seen it. They should be prepared for this game. Those shots should go down, Flash.
Okay, just Lenny in the chat, you're saying he's out tonight. Can you just let us know who's out tonight so that we can make sure, because obviously he's out tonight.
I think he means Max is out tonight, correct?
Max is out every night. He has to, listen, it's either...
I was out last night, Flash.
It looks like you've only just got in. You look as sharp as a razor, my lad. Honest to God, I've never seen you look so well.
No. East Tennessee State, University of Connecticut, with every side on both sides on the board parlayed. It was a big night.
All right, listen, fish and chip paper now. We start again, we go again. Max, I'm going to stay with you. Western Michigan this time. The Road Dog are getting 9.5 going into Ohio.
Yes, I'm confused on this game. I think it's Central Michigan and Ohio.
Central,
but,
yeah.
it's
it's not Western then?
Pardon?
It's Central Michigan, not Western.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't know who wrote my notes down.
Wasn't me.
Probably was me. It's probably me. But yeah, no. Central Michigan at Ohio today. Ohio probably around a 5-point favorite and 152 total. This is a spot where I think that I got to find out what the status of Ben Vonderplees is. Obviously, they were able to overcome the injury, beat Ohio on the road, cash the first half that we gave out on the show. This is a spot where I think that Ohio just has the better point guard. This is a team that I trust to play defense in the second half. As long as they do not allow Central Michigan to go on a sustained run where they are not able to answer back, this is a game where I think is played in the second half of the second half, and Ohio prevails, covers, and wins on their home floor. If this was on Central Michigan's home floor, I'd probably actually be looking the other way.
Okay, that voice of yours has gone a little bit husky. Remember, myself and Donnie, we are strictly heterosexual, so don't be starting with your huskiness. Yes, Donnie, let's go. Central Michigan, getting 9.5. Is it enough for you? It looks tighter than a 9.5 game.
Yeah, no, it's lined up. We got twisted a little bit there. Western Michigan versus Toledo, that's 9.5. This game is Ohio favored by 5 with a total that opened up at 151, now sits at around 150. I think we do get points here, but again, you do want to, read the tea leaves as we go throughout the day, because as Max picked up there, Vanderplas is a huge deal in this game. Now, also, I want to give Max credit, I believe, on Friday, where he still went with Ohio, despite Dardis actually came back in that basketball game. But Vanderplas didn't even suit up or play at all with that bum ankle, and they still were able to pick up the victory. It's up to Ohio in this game. And sometimes when you break down games, you know Central Michigan's offense is going to be there. You know their defense isn't going to be there. But what Central Michigan team did we get over the past 3.5 to 4 weeks? They were atrocious until I said on Friday, this is a girl that you still want to take to the prom when it deals with points. They got it in the mid-80s and cashed in an easy team total for us. But in this game going on the road, it's different. This is going to be up to Ohio. If Ohio plays a decent game, they're going to win and cover this, and the total is going to go over because, yes, Central Michigan is going to throw everything up against the wall, 3-pointers, try to hit some tempo, try to foul and extend the game late. If Vanderplas plays in this game and he's healthy, Ohio shouldn't have any problems downing Central Michigan because, again, as Max points out, it's in Ohio. There's a decided advantage in here, and Central Michigan doesn't play all that well on the road. But you will get tempo in this game. Whether or not you get the total strictly lies on Ohio. If they play an average game, as I said, they'll win this game outright, they'll cover the line, and they'll also hit their team total as well. But I'm waiting on more injury information to see exactly what I'm getting out of Ohio today. Okay, let's go with Miami, Ohio. Getting 9 going into our friends, Buffalo. We'll go with you, Donnie. Yeah, Buffalo. Hey, look, Buffalo's made us a lot of money on this. I think Buffalo is the decided advantage team in this game. And again, we're still talking about being home in the MAC conference until we get to the semifinals and the finals when they move to the bigger arenas. Buffalo should be able to get tempo in this game. It's all a matter if Buffalo can hit their shots. If they can make some 3-pointers, which they don't shoot all that well, they're going to be able to roll over Miami. I'm leaning towards Buffalo in this one. And the same thing I'm going to factor in here because sometimes games get a little bit tighter late in the game. Miami, Ohio doesn't play all that well defense. So theoretically, Buffalo should be able to extend their lead. But it's one of those games where you just have one of those feels and say, you know what? I think Buffalo jumps out really quick at home in this game and can possibly lead by double digits at the half. And I don't want to wait for a meltdown or free throws, which we know Buffalo doesn't shoot all that well. I think Buffalo takes control of this basketball game, Flash, and wins. First half is my look here for the Buffalo Bulls.
Okay, and Lenny says in the chat that Williamson is out for Kent State tonight. Whether that makes a big thing to you, Max or Donnie, you can obviously then just factor it in. But Buffalo giving up 9 against Miami, Ohio, Max.
Yeah, listen, Miami, Ohio needs to get more possessions because they're doing a good job from an efficiency standpoint by my standards. And I think that when you look at this Miami, Ohio team, listen, Delonte Brown has not really worked his way back in from injury. I think it puts a lot of pressure on Nike Sabandi, but these are the types of games that he comes to play most in. I think that when you look at Buffalo's really got to do a better job of keeping their opponent off the free throw line. They do a good job of maximizing the clock and getting a lot of looks at the bucket, and that helps when you have Josh Mballa helping out on the offensive glass. I think that this is a guy that has shown growth and development throughout the season, more than I projected, that's for sure. And I think that when you look at Javon Graves, this is the time for him to step it up. I think that this is his time. He played not as dominant role with the team last year. I think that now having that experience, having that taste of the tournament, it's going to be really on him to take this young and inexperienced from a postseason perspective team and really put them on his shoulders. I think he's going to be able to do that tonight at home. I agree with Donnie first half. When we look at Buffalo at home, this is a team where I see having a 6 to 8 point advantage at home in first halves, and I think that they do cover the 9 points and they do not take Miami, Ohio lightly. This is a game where if you're looking to get on the over, you better do it now because it's rising up to 153.5 at 5 times.
153.5, Max.
Well, it's rising to 153.5. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, this is a good time for me to say that tomorrow night we've got our own poker tournament sponsored by UWager. Looking forward to it, Donnie. It'll be a late night tomorrow night and then an early Wednesday morning. So God knows what I'm going to be like because I intend to be there at the end. Take it away, Lee.
What's going on, guys? Lee Martin here to present to you UWager's 3rd annual $1,000 Bounty Free Roll Poker Showdown with SBR. The poker tournament will be held on March 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and will be broadcasted live over here at SBR headquarters. If you do not want to play in the tournament but want to just sit back and watch the event from the comfort of your own home, then you can watch all the hot action on SBR's YouTube channel at SBR Sports. If you do want to participate in the tournament and want a chance to win some extra cash for March Madness, then simply sign up for the tournament via sbrvideo.com/poker. You must have an active UWager account in order to participate in the tournament. So, if you do not have a UWager account, do not worry. Signing up is very simple and we have everything you need in order to sign up. Just head over to sbrvideo.com/poker. Click Join Now, fill out the information boxes, then wait until March 10th to register into the event. Registration for the tournament will begin at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 hours before the event commences. Registration is free, with a $1,000 prize that is up for grabs, and that is not the only prize to offer. There will be a $100 bounty on the heads of each of our 6 key personalities. The SBR personalities participating in the tournament are yours truly, everyone's favorite man Flash, Donnie RightSide, and Sports Keg CEO Jason Paglia. There will also be 2 members of the UWager family joining us in-house at SBR headquarters. So take your chances by joining us March 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and try to knock us all out to win $1,000 or more. Again, if you want to participate in the UWager $1,000 Bounty Free Roll Poker Tournament with SBR, then head over to sbrvideo.com/poker and join now. Registration to the tournament is free, so why not join in on all the action and play for a chance to win $1,000 or more? Be sure to stay tuned to SBR's Twitter page at SBR Sports Picks for all updates regarding the event. Also, be sure to subscribe to SBR's YouTube channel at SBR Sports to receive all content updates. It's going to be a very fun and intense night on March 10th. So I hope to see you guys then.
Yeah, nice one, Lee. Really looking forward to that tomorrow night. And remember, $100 On my head. Come and get it if you think you're big enough. Right, cracking game. San Francisco getting 13, going up against the Zags, Max.
Yeah, this is a spot where San Francisco's played Gonzaga tough all year. With their ability to kick and drive and having an efficient three-point shooter like Jordan Ratno on the perimeter, they can always stay in games, but they cannot go through scoring droughts, and they have to do a good job of when Gonzaga makes a bucket against them, which I'm anticipating that they will make a fair deal of them. They have to be able to get down the floor with Bouye and Charles Midland and get to the bucket. I need to see a better performance out of Charles Midland on an overall level. This is a guy that I had higher expectations for from a developmental standpoint this year as being the guy without Frankie Ferrari to lean on. Well, it hasn't worked out to the way that I thought it would. I think that going up against San Francisco for a third time, Gonzaga is going to be able to get it right. I look at them as a 12-point or 12.5-point favorite full game, knowing that this team is capable of putting up 47 points or 50 points in a second half like we've seen over and over again so far and recently. This is a spot where the line opened at 153 down to 151 or 151 and a half. I'm still inclined, even on a neutral court, to continue to riding what we've been doing often and so often and cashing, and that is Gonzaga first half overs. If you can get 71 and a half or you can get 72, I still advocate making a play, and I still think that this game goes over. Third time's going to be the charm.
Okay, first half over is 71 and a half, Donnie. But what about getting a little bit of San Francisco +7, +7.5 in places?
Yeah, Junior Brown stealing a little bit of my thunder right here. Good. Look, the eyes have to be on the prize. You have to use every single angle to your tactical advantage when you're trying to gamble in these games. You're taking a look at Gonzaga, clearly the better basketball team. One of the best teams in the entire nation, probably going to make a deep run into March Madness, maybe even a Final Four. Who knows? Maybe cut down the nets. But if you take a look at this game on a singular basis, Gonzaga's been off a while, 7-8 days. You're also looking at a neutral court site that Gonzaga's going to fly into. You're also looking at San Francisco that played back-to-back days, won both games, and looked really good doing it. Then you get a day off, so you can get your scouting back in. You could say, all right, we got to gear up for Gonzaga, because unless you win this conference tournament, which I don't think they're going to, you're not going to be able to go to March Madness, and that being San Francisco. So if I'm looking to isolate this game, I don't want Gonzaga's legs under them, right? I'll maybe get that stretch of about 4 to 5 minutes where they slow down and don't score that much. If San Francisco is going to hang around in this basketball game, it's not going to be because they're down 10 points at halftime. They're going to have to go toe-to-toe with Gonzaga, and that is your angle in this game. Maybe a little bit rusty, maybe a new gym to play in. The other team's already played 2 times on that court. They're in the same hotel. They're practicing the same way. They're getting extra shoot-arounds, and they get the extra day off to prepare for Gonzaga. If San Francisco's going to hang around in this ballgame, I think they can cover full game. But I'm more comfortable saying, you know what? We might be in for a little bit of a dogfight at the half here before Gonzaga may be able to get their legs under them, and then obviously the talent takes it away. I'm going to go with the first half in this one. We're going to go San Francisco and take the points in the first half. Because, again, if they're down 10 at the half, it's a wrap in this game, and Gonzaga's going to roll away. But I'm going to play that angle that maybe a little bit of rust comes in, and also San Francisco used to this home court, which is actually a neutral court where they played a couple games.
Yeah, I mean, if we think a dogfight, are we thinking up and down the court? And we're going to get over 71 and a half first half? Donnie?
I mean, look, if you're getting over 71 in the first half, you're probably going to play into it that Gonzaga's got their legs under. So I might lean towards an under in the first half just because that's the angle I want to play. If it's a shootout in the first half, it probably means Gonzaga's ready to go. So if I'm looking at the angle of taking the dog with the 7.5, I'm going to bet on maybe the tempo slowing down and Gonzaga not full blast yet. So that's the way I would look here.
Max, I'm spending a little bit more time on this game because it probably is one of the biggest game of the night, maybe bar one. So if we're looking at maybe getting over the 71 and a half first half, are we saying that it may slow down just to make sure that Zags get the W and we go under the 151?
Listen, let me make this clear. What have we done in cash over and over again? Gonzaga first half overs. Yeah. What did Gonzaga do regardless of whether they've had an 8-day layoff, they're going to take this team seriously because they know how hard they had to fight them in the first game. I'm on the other side, plain and simply. I'm going to take the team that I trust to play in this moment and not have a lackadaisical first half. I think that you want to come out, you want to leave your imprint on San Francisco's face, and that means hitting threes and getting your big men who are both healthy and match up nightmares for Jimbo Lull and his slow-footedness. Well, listen, me and Donnie are just seeing the other sides on this game. So
yeah, no problem at all. We love that because we can obviously then form an opinion from the information that you're giving us. By the way, Junior Brown is in the chat. And Junior, there's a seat here for you. Don't take too long. I need some company. And by the way, we start earlier. But I believe that when you get here, we can all have a lay-in. Unbelievable the way that some people are treated. But not me. I'm up before the milkman. Do you have milkman in Costa Rica? Green Bay getting 5, going into Northern Kentucky. Donnie.
Yeah, this is a neutral court site here, Flash, as we get to some of these later rounds. That's where you're going to come into. Obviously, Green Bay has already played a game in conference tournament play at home, which they won. But now it goes to the Indiana Farmers Coliseum, so we'll see how that pertains. But also, you're looking at another one of these type situations that you might want to play into. Northern Kentucky, a long layoff. Haven't played it about a week to a week and a half. And you also saw Green Bay, obviously, at least getting a game in on Thursday, picking up the victory, now rolling it over as they go to the neutral court site here. Also, you're going to look at Green Bay, which is a tempo team going up against Northern Kentucky that's going to want to slow it down. Dantez Walton, he's got to come up and be a star in this basketball game for Northern Kentucky to win and move on. Even though they are the higher seed, I think Northern Kentucky's the better team. But look, neutral court environment in this, got some tempo. Maybe they can push it. I'm going to lean on the points here with Green Bay in this game early. I'm going to wait to see how this line actually settles in. But early thought indicators, hey, neutral court, give me the points here. I'll go against the layoff with Northern Kentucky.
Okay, we're going to take the points. Are you on our side, Max?
Yeah, with this game, it's interesting. The fact is, Northern Kentucky's done a great job of limiting Wisconsin Green Bay's ability to get out in transition. They've been able to close out without fouling three-point shooters, which is definitely key and necessary with this type of offense. But the fact is, this is where I think that a layoff could play a factor with Northern Kentucky and their poor three-point shooting as of late. Listen, this isn't a team that doesn't have to be completely reliant on it with Dantez Walton and some good inside and out balance. But this is a spot where I think Wisconsin Green Bay wins the game and moves on. I think that when you look at how hot they're shooting, how good a starts they're getting off, if they put up 40 points on Northern Kentucky, and Northern Kentucky cannot keep up, this game's over early. So, plain and simply, I'm looking Wisconsin Green Bay +5. I'm looking them on the money line.
Oh, money line as well. So, I mean, that's going to be decent. Donnie, there's our first money line with a road dog.
Yeah, no, again, neutral court environments, you're looking at layoffs here. So you have Max brings up a lot of good points. If, Northern Kentucky was hammering on all cylinders, I think they can actually control the pace of this game. But all it takes is for you to impose your will, go up and down, make a couple three-point shots when you're looking at Green Bay, and all of a sudden you're racing back. Because Max has said, look, Northern Kentucky hasn't put it all together this year. And maybe that was a big part with Dantez Walton. This is a good portion of the season. They're not all there yet, and they've had time off going into a neutral court. Pressure's ratcheted up. I like to lean on points in those spots.
Yeah, we love the points. Now, I think this is probably the best game of the night. St. Mary's getting 4.5 going against BYU. BYU, hell of a team, Donnie.
Yeah, no, both of these teams are a lot of fun. This conference is great. I mean, we don't get to watch a ton of it on the East Coast. Most of us would be in bed by the time these games tip off. But they have some heavyweights in this conference that are certainly going to make some moves in March Madness. I think both of these teams can as well, with St. Mary's, BYU, along with Gonzaga. In this game, I got to tell you again, St. Mary's has already played a game, got their legs under them, and won. I love BYU. And since Yoli Childs came back, they are amazing. You have the inside game. You have the outside game. You have the three-point shot. It's fun to watch BYU because they constantly create the entire game. And if you haven't done so yet, TJ Hall is one of my favorite. The guy is 60 years old, playing as like a 25-year-old kid in college. BYU, you got to add, 6 to 7 years per player because they've probably done 3 to 4 missions already. But looking at this game as it is, I think we'll get points in this game. But I want to rely on points. And what that means, neutral court, got a team that plays constant on offense, can play some defense, has a pedigree for being in big games. I like the points here with St. Mary's. I do.
Okay, I mean, listen, no one's going to go against you because, you can have 50% for St. Mary's, 50% BYU. Personally, you know me, I never sit on the fence. I think BYU, they come, they take it, and they cover the 4.5, Max.
Yeah, Flash, I'm just going to tell you to say not so fast and settle the fuck down. This is St. Mary's game, straight goods, all day, every day. BYU, they're not playing at home. This is a team that is dominant at home. But on the road, against a guy in Jordan Ford who's coming off a 42-point game, I think he is going to be the difference maker. This is what he wants to do with his St. Mary's team, and it involves going through BYU. BYU on the road, this is a team that I do not trust from a consistency standpoint. I do agree with Donnie. Full game over 145.5. That's an official play, or 145 if you want to pay the extra juice. I think it goes into the 150s. This is a spot where I think that St. Mary's wins the game. It advances. So I'll take St. Mary's on the money line, and I like the +4, and I see them staying in it and winning the first half money line. So I'll be involved in St. Mary's a whole bunch of ways, but for all the viewers, obviously, over and full game +4 in the money line.
Okay, 145.5 and over. That's going to get a little tick from me because I fancy this. Could go into overtime, gentlemen. Oral Roberts getting 1.5. NDSU, neutral or home, Donnie?
This game is played in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, but I'm not sure if this is actually, I think this is still a neutral court game. Let me just do a quick double check on this one here. It is a neutral court, yeah. It got me confused there just seeing where it was actually being played at, but it is a neutral court game here, Flash.
Okay, who are you going to go with? Them Oral Roberts getting 1.5.
I'm going to pass this right over to Max here. I don't want to lean anybody in the wrong direction. I haven't capped a Summit League game all year, so I'm not going to tell you who to put your money on.
Max?
Yeah, I'll definitely tell people to put their money on things. What I tell them to put their money on are flexible people that dance on poles. Put your money on them. But as far as this basketball game, I already have an official play on it. I'm on the over 145.5 in this spot. I got on it early. The fact is, when I look at this Oral Roberts team, they are just playing fantastic. They're a team that is able to get to 80 points on a consistent basis. They're able to score the basketball inside and out. DeAndre Burns, the transfer from Arkansas Little Rock, has been a very good addition to this offense. And I think that when you look at a guy like Max Abamis, he's going to be a difference maker in this game. You know, I did not project him being a 14.5 point scoring player for this team. And at 6'1", he's come in. He does a good job of just getting buckets, getting good looks at the bucket, whether it be from inside the arc or getting to the rim. And I have to have a little bit of freaking respect for that. This is a guy that's really come on of late. He has, 6 or 7 games where he's had more than 15 points. And I think that when you're hot at this time of the season, it's going to pay dividends. I think that this Oral Roberts team, while they only allowed 52 points yesterday, I think that they're going to allow a couple more points to this North Dakota State team, because this North Dakota State team, listen, they're not shabby when it comes to scoring the basketball. They can give you 70 in this game, and that's pretty much what I'm projecting. I think that with Rocky Cruiser inside, even though he's 6'10", he's not as stout as you would think. I think that if you're able to get some offensive rebounds and you're able to limit him from getting on the glass, it definitely aids your effort in getting this game over. But I have to look and hope that Jared Samuelson and Tyson Ward are both able to get off of three-point range. And frankly, I hope that both these teams can shoot threes. I project them to be able to get the threes against each other. I have this game going over 152.5.
Wow, and you said that it's 145.5, so you're getting nearly 7 points.
I got 145.5.
Love that. 145.5, and that's going to get a star. Going to come back to you, Donnie, because we've got Wofford getting 6.5 against East Tennessee State.
Yeah, look, Wofford, East Tennessee, these are two good teams going to match up against each other. But to me, the class of the conference was East Tennessee State. And when you take a look at how they play, both of these teams aren't really going to run out and sort of get out of tempo. But you're all going to have some defense being played. East Tennessee State, number 2 in the conference at defensive efficiency. Wofford, number 4. But where this game comes down to it also, and you see it yesterday in a lot of these games, how about Valpo, playing well each and every day, but when you play 3 and 4 games in a row, Flash, it really shows up in the second half. The same thing we got to look, at Hampton, where you play those games and all of a sudden the second half, you just don't have that juice that you can get up and down. I think that's going to play into this game. I think East Tennessee State can cover the full game. It is sitting at 6.5, so obviously in a slower tempo game, looking at a double-digit winner in a conference tournament game, maybe you don't get there. But this is one that I also want to take a look at the half to see where I sit, because I would love East Tennessee State to be down somewhat at the half, because I think the 4 games in 4 days is going to be too much for Wofford, and I do think East Tennessee State is the best team in this conference. I like them full game. I think they do win by double digits, but I might be more inclined to take a second half play on East Tennessee State, because I think Wofford might struggle to get to the finish line here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a double-edged sword here, because Max, if they're tired, then they're going to be fatigued, so they'll slow start. There will be slow starters as well.
Listen, with this Wofford team, we've seen them really get out to good starts in the game. That's where you found some value on first halves with them. I think that's where you're going to continue to find the value again today. I think that with Wofford, with Storm Murphy making that game-winning shot and blowing that lead that they had at halftime, definitely is going to present halftime betting value to East Tennessee State, pretty much regardless of what the score is. I think that this East Tennessee State team being able to put up 97 yesterday definitely showed that they are primed, ready, and not looking for any kind of slip up. And I think that with Wofford, this is a team that they've had trouble with. This is a team where I do not expect them to score a lot of points against. We've seen them play tough all year against this team. We've seen them struggle to get more than 120 points. I think that this line movement from 135 down to 133 to 132.5 is correct. You have to look at the under. You have to look at Wofford first half. And you have to look at East Tennessee State as a play second half and or full game.
Okay, just to let everyone know, there's 242 plus in the chat. And listen, you keep the chat. It's there for you. You got any player of the days? Put them on. Any questions? Put it on. I'll ask the boys. No problem at all. Press the subscribe button. If this is your first time, then press ring the bell. We'll notify you. We'll let you know whenever any content. You will never miss another show. Okay, Donnie, Elon getting A against Northeastern.
Yeah, I'm having a tough time with this game. Elon going to play their third game in 3 days. Obviously, Northeastern going to play their second game in 2 days, coming up with the bye. The one thing that gives me a problem here, look, Elon crashed and burned at the end of the season, but all of a sudden turns it up, as you see, where the eye is on the prize, where, regular season doesn't matter all that much for these small conference teams, because you're not really going to punch your ticket unless you win your conference tournament. When you take a look at Northeastern, they're a much better team. They're going to be able to play defense. Elon doesn't play much defense, as said. And also, I think Elon's offense is not a good matchup for Northeastern's defense. When you take a look at what you want to do on offense, Elon is shoot the three-point shot. Second in the conference at chasing you off of the line is Northeastern. So I do think Northeastern has a decided advantage in this game. We're not going to get a lot of tempo, but if you're going to back a dog, the dog teams where you say, well, they can, throw it down low and they make their free throws. No. In conference play, when you need a one game, the ultimate offset is a team that fires three-point shots. Not even talking about if they make a good deal of them, because even though they do, Elon, 36% in conference play this year from the three-point line, but over 50% of their shots come from three-point range. All you need to start, and you saw it yesterday with Valpo. Valpo was on fire from the three-point line in the first half. They were up at the half. They couldn't make a shot in the second half. They fell off and got blown away. So if you're looking to take a dog, it's another situation that we look at. If Elon is down 10 at the half, it means they're not making their threes, and they're probably not going to make them the rest of the way. But if they open up 5 from 10 from three-point range in the first half, you're going to get the cover from Elon. I still like Northeastern in this game. I think Northeastern can win because I'm betting against the three-point shot from Elon. But if you do have an angle in this game for a dog, it's nice to have a team that is unconscious from three-point range, and doesn't matter if they miss their first 8. They're going to shoot another 8 from three-point range. If those shots are going down, Elon does have a shot to cover here in the first half, I believe.
Yes, a lot of points though, Max. And what about the totals?
Listen, I don't think it's a lot of points, Flash. I think that this is a fair number. I got the worst of the number. I jumped on early on Elon at plus 7.5. I'm going to end up hitting them again at 9 and biting the bullet with them. I think that definitely with the combination of Marcus Sheffield and the Hunters, we've seen what they've done, and Donnie just pointed it out for everyone to realize that this is a three-point shooting team, and if you can lock down the three-point line, well, you can beat this team. I think that Northeastern's had trouble doing that so far this season versus Elon team. Yes, Elon doesn't have the benefit of being able to play at home today, but they do have the benefit and confidence of beating that William & Mary team that a lot of people did not give them a lot of credit for. I think that it involves getting to the free throw line a lot more, and it's going to involve playing some better defense. When we look at this Elon team, listen, they can hold their own on the three-point line. Jordan Rowland and Bolden Brace and Maxime Bourskoit, they're not going to get great looks at the bucket with this defense. This is an athletic backcourt that shifts well, and they close out on jump shooters without fouling, which over the weekend I saw a lot of not happening. I think it's important to realize that Northeastern's going to have the major advantage if you put them at the free throw line. So you have to do a better job of not fouling in the paint and when guards are penetrating. That is where Elon's been susceptible when it comes to fouling from watching their games. But this is a team that has good ball movement. They do a good job of not turning the ball over. And I think that as long as you do a better job of protecting the rim and not fouling close to the rim, well, I think Elon's staying in this game.
Okay, so you're going to go in again, maybe looking towards the 9. Okay, last one. Purdue Fort Wayne against North Dakota. And Purdue Fort Wayne getting 1.5, Max.
Yeah, this is an IPFW spot for me. This is the Cinderella side of the Summit League bracket. And I think that when you look at this team tonight, listen, IPFW has shooters. IPFW definitely can win this game outright. I think that they're going to, plain and simply. When I look at Purdue Fort Wayne, this is a team that definitely does a good job of getting the ball to guys in spots for them to be successful. They do a good job of playing defense, and when you can hold your opponent with a type of potent offense like South Dakota State or Oral Roberts under 75, it gives me confidence. I think that it's really going to come down to how they can score the basketball and how frequently they can do it. Matt Holba and Jared Godfrey are a great combination of players that both do a good job of getting on the glass and scoring from the perimeter. You're going to have to get a good start against North Dakota. You're going to have to be able to stop Philippe Rebraca from doing what he wants to do inside. At 6'9" and 220, he's going to get on the glass. He's going to give you 15 points a game. And if you allow him to go off and have a big double-double game and you're not trying to turn him over when he takes the ball in the low post, well, this game is going to definitely go over, and it's going to be more of a dogfight than you want. I think IPFW is going to do a good job of scoring the basketball. I think they're going to do a good job of limiting Philippe Rebraca's damage that he can do on an offensive standpoint. And I'm on the over 137.5 because some of the league totals at this number are just plain overs every day. I can't remember the last time I saw a 135 total.
Okay, so over 137.5. Any sort of lean or play on the sides?
Yeah, it's IPFW money line, IPFW plus 1.5, whatever you can get. That's how I'm looking at it.
Excellent. Okay, Donnie, take us away with the last game of the day.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything on this game here. Again, with the Summit League, we'll leave it on Max. I think he covered it perfectly there for us.
Okay, just a one question from the chat. And Andrew says, Michigan, NCAA tourney ceiling. Donnie?
Michigan's?
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess he's going. I guess he's going.
I don't think
for,
they can get to the fun. Maybe if they run hot, get to the 32, win a game. But I don't have a great ceiling for them.
Max, any ceiling for Michigan?
No, I don't think that they're getting through the conference tournament and winning it, and I don't think that they're going to be doing any damage in the March Madness if they make it in.
Okay, any play of the days, Donnie?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna keep it simple here. I mean, the game I looked at all morning and saw from last night where the game is coming. I do want to watch these games, but I'm gonna lean on. I'm gonna take the points. Just give me the points with St. Mary's in this game. I think they have a legitimate shot to win outright. They're rested, they're prepared, they're ready. You know they're going to bring their offensive game. They can beat anywhere on any – outside of Gonzaga, I like to say. They're competitive with everybody and usually on the upper level. I'll take the points with St. Mary's. I'm actually surprised they're getting 4.5. I am.
Max, 4.5, St Mary's. Is that your play of the day?
No, but unfortunately, my play of the day is on the same game.
Over.
Taking the total over. I'm taking that
We're gonna be up late.
145 and a half. That's the over play for me. That's the biggest edge that I have on my model. And I'm just going to trust the number because it usually spits out unders, and today it's spitting out an over.
Okay, I'm not going to bother with my play of the day because I've just been absolutely pissed on by these two. They've completely crushed me. If I was on fire, I'll be now... Anyway, listen... 246 people, please press the thumbs up on the way out. We go again tomorrow. It's another day closer. Remember to subscribe, press that button, ring that bell, and we'll let you know. Till tomorrow, thanks Donnie, thanks Max, and let's have a great night tonight, and let's feast on them worms. And if you're a vegetarian, they're veggie worms. Take care.